Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be the Twin Astrology forecast for the Twin Flames for the week ahead. And so I think we're in for a week that is likely going to make history, is kind of what it feels like. And so prepare for a week of a lot of changes, both inner and outer. And so we start off the week today with Pluto turning retrograde, and I spoke about the SOS message yesterday. I will put a video tag at the end if you missed it. You might want to go check it out. And so we've got all of these very intense combining cosmic energies. And so all of the tension is building towards the Scorpio super full moon eclipse on Friday, May the 5th, which is a 555 portal day. And so whatever situations you've been dealing with surrounding some karma, it's likely going to intensify this week on some level leading up to the full moon eclipse in order for us to open up to our highest potential. And so things I feel are very unstable collectively. I feel there's a lot of things kind of breaking apart and dismantling within the Divine Masculine's life. You might also be experiencing this as well, Divine Feminine. So try not to play into the fear and the worry. The universe truly always does have our back when we kind of face the consequences of these past choices. And so the past is coming back to be settled once and for all. We cannot ignore the karmic debt that we're here to settle and pay back. Is kind of what it feels like. And so what have you missed? What have you ignored? Have you been ignoring the divine guidance that you've been receiving? Where have you settled for less when it comes to something that is not in your highest good? And so we're all being pushed to kind of course correct. And I talked about any endings right now. If you were going through a major ending, a split, or a breakup, and you've been going back and forth with somebody for the last year or the last couple of years, that is not your twin flame. Anything leaving our lives right now, 222, is not meant to stay. So let that person go is a big message. Release all of these lower fear-based choices, these fear-based intentions, and a re-examination of where you did make a choice based in fear, worry, or, where you have chose to settle for less. And so anything going on externally right now is because maybe you made a choice and it really wasn't what you wanted. I think a lot of the masculines are regretting the decision to walk away from the feminine, even though they truly wanted her. And they've been, playing into these karmic cycles. And that's really not true to them as a soul. And so you might find yourself losing a job, losing people, relationships, especially if you're in a career cycle that's draining you, that isn't part of your spiritual karmic mission. If you're with a partner that you're not truly in love with, and that's not meant for you, it's kind of time to face the consequences of that choice. Endings are never easy, right? And so what do you need to cut out of your life that's keeping you from stepping into alignment? There's a lot of outsider attachments that are coming up, and the eclipse is going to deal with these strong karmic ties as it feels fit in order for the twin flame connection to open up to a state of unity. And so if either one of you has been tied up in an outsider karmic relationship in a lower cycle of running because you're afraid of love, you're going to have to get to the deeper root cause issues, and that's going to be coming up to the surface. So there's going to be a lot of purging this week, a lot of emotional purging in order for healing. And so there's going to be a lot of karmic issues coming up this week. Pluto deals with the unconscious. Pluto is a very dark energy. It's death, it's purging, right? And a lot of this purging isn't really even attached to the present moment. A lot of these very unconscious experiences are from past life karmic cycles, unconscious vows that we've made in a karmic cycle in a past life. And so everything that we're kind of experiencing right now is feeling a little bit fragmented. It might not make a lot of sense, especially with Pluto going retrograde. We have to go back over things associated with the Aquarian energy, and especially in terms of power issues and ego conflicts and control issues. So any lingering karmic drama needs to be cleared out once and for all. And so we're in a real powerhouse of energies this week. Pluto comes in to exert this tower-like influence, both inner and outer, especially at an emotional level. And it does represent death, sex, rebirth, and power. So we're going backwards. Pluto's like, you got to go back. You missed a step here, divine masculine. And so all of these old conflicts are coming back up again around any subjects of power and control, death and sex. And so we can heal and move towards this rebirth process once and for all. And so with Pluto retrograde and the eclipse in Scorpio, it's like the cosmic shit pot is stirring up all of this drama to be dealt with once and for all. And so get ready to dig into some early childhood issues with your family, your parents. Maybe you're dealing with issues in your work environment. If it's draining you with some colleagues, I think get ready for fake friends to be exposed. And I do think a lot of exes are kind of turning up from the past, and they might come forward in a new guise, in a new mask, but I do feel this is going to create an opportunity to close the book on the past and to heal once and for all. And so if we can remain a little bit detached or neutral, right, it's really going to help us, right? And so we're all being asked to understand, why is this situation so familiar? You know, it might be a different person with a different face, but it's the same situation, the same cycle showing up again. Why is it so familiar? What is familiar is not always good for you. We go towards familiar energies linked to our childhood, which just recreates that childhood wound over and over and over again. So where can you ask yourself, how have I experienced something like this before, in order to get to the root issue? And so collectively, globally, we're going through a massive purge of all of these negative collective karmic cycles. And so that's what this eclipse is bringing forward for us to acknowledge. And so we got to be mindful of our reactions right now. That's why I say you're going to want to be aligned. You're going to want to stay centered. You're going to want to shield yourself from any psychic attacks this week, Divine Feminine. Connect to the higher guidance, connect to your inner light, do what you can to stay out of these very collective, chaotic energies as best as you can, because the feminine is rising. And I feel the feminine has released all expectations and has fully surrendered. And so I know there's going to be a lot of very uncomfortable physical ascension symptoms coming up this week. I woke up this morning and I kind of felt a little nauseous. You might be extra tired at this time. I know the third eye headaches have been insane lately. And this is just a major sign that we're connected to something that's toxic, and that we need to purge this toxic energy. And so when we can rise into that higher perspective, we have that gift, right? That gift of seeing things clearly. But it's very overwhelming as we go through this ascension purge. And so we're being asked to kind of work with the energies instead of resisting and running. And so I do feel the runner twin, or the divine masculine twin, is his ego is breaking down. It's like they showed me like a cracking of the egg. And so I feel the masculine's cracking. I think he's losing his mind. We have the Mercury retrograde going backwards over the sun. And so this is a lot of lower self-perceptions. And I feel the masculines are going through a self-identity crisis, is what it feels like, in order to break through all of these very distorted ego constructs, so they can step into their true soul self, right? A revelation of some sort coming through. And then during this process, all of these issues and blocks that have kept us from reuniting are awakening the unawakened twin. And so there's a lot happening with the divine masculine this week. And I think they are particularly very triggered. They can no longer hide behind the ego mask, is what it feels like. And they're going to have to face their fears of opening up. I had a message come through. So they're going to have to face where they have sabotaged this connection, where they have self-sabotaged their life. And so this is like a culmination of all of this scorpionic energy. We got the North Node, we got Mercury retrograde, we got all of these eclipse energies bringing these major sudden shifts and a lot of upheaval. And so we're going to have to face our shadow selves. We're going to have to bring all of these repressed, hidden aspects of our psyche, of our personality to the forefront in order to understand that that's been getting in the way of unity for these unions. And so the masculine, the unconscious saboteur is like the lower ego self. And so with Mercury in Taurus in retrograde, it is the lower ego, right? And so I think dream space is going to be very active at this time. And a lot of us do receive the psychic awareness and the insights in dream space when it comes to what's been creating blocks to harnessing our most healthiest soul identity and essence. And so I just feel there's a lot of karmic pathway activations. It is the energy of like emerging from the false masks that the ego constructs to keep us safe. And so everything is kind of being cracked open, like rock bottom cracked open. And so I know a lot of us have been feeling blocked or even disconnected from the counterpart in the higher realms lately. And so if you've been feeling blocked or disconnected, even from spirit itself, it's because we're going through a purge. And so whenever we go through a major purge, I usually just take a back seat and I don't usually channel. I'm feeling actually really good today, thankfully. Other than the nausea I woke up with this morning. And so all of the energies are saying we have to confront the past where we made a choice that was way out of whack, way out of alignment, so we can release that lower relationship cycle. And destiny is kind of stepping in. It's like the wheel. I kept seeing the wheel. And so destiny is kind of stepping in and taking charge right now as well. And so there's going to be sudden endings. And that will always happen during an eclipse energy. Eclipses come to eclipse things out of your life. And so although there's going to be a sudden ending, I feel for many of the divine masculines who have been connected in a lower cycle, this is also going to create a new beginning that is happening at the same time. I don't think we're going to see the full union potential until all of the dust settles, and it might be a couple of weeks. It might not be until Mercury goes direct or closer to the new moon in Taurus, closer to the end of the month. But I think that's when things will make sense, when we're out of the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. So major endings leading to new beginnings. And so where do you need to draw the line in the sand when it comes to releasing the past? And this is on a personal level as well as a collective level taking place. And so there's a purpose, right? There's always a higher purpose to these energies. And so there's a lot of unconscious karmic content coming up. So people are going to be triggered. People are going to be very emotionally reactive this week. So you're going to want to keep a cool head. You're going to want to stay in your highest vibration, divine feminine, and detach. Because with Venus and Gemini, the feminine has a strong involvement, right? So pay attention to the Venus and Gemini energy, because Venus and Gemini is supporting the masculine with this transformation. And so I feel a lot of us are feeling very disconnected from support and help. But Venus, the divine feminine, is guiding you. And so, but it's also the energy of like in the background, right? The feminine is not going to tell you she's guiding you. So I feel the energies are kind of shuffling things around, maneuvering us around, and we are being guided towards unconditional love in our physical reality. And so what makes you feel good? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel light? What actually inspires you? Because that is leading you towards your true bliss and your true passions. So why do you keep settling for less than what it is that you truly want? We've got this 555 portal on the full moon eclipse. We also have Venus sextile Jupiter that day. So what I want to say is, my Leo rising collectives, you're likely going to be most affected. This is like the culmination of the new moon eclipse in Aries that I believe was at 29 degrees 49 a couple of weeks ago. And so what I noticed was the moon in Scorpio during this eclipse is going to be in the third house of Libra. The third house is about communication. Libra is about balance, right? Justice. And then we're going to have the sun in Taurus in the ninth house of Aries at 13 degrees 49. So this is death, rebirth, and I've talked about the 7-7-year cycles, and we get to the 49 at the end of the 7-7-year cycles. 1555 I just noticed as well on the timer. So I do feel Leo risings are going to be likely most affected, because at the time of the eclipse in my local area, the ascendant will be in Leo. And so when I talk about Taurus and Scorpio, I'm like a connoisseur of the Taurus and Scorpio polarity. And Taurus is everything that's mine, and Scorpio is all that's yours. And so Taurus deals with form, the physical, and Scorpio deals with transformation. And so Taurus is tangible, the physical. It is physical matter. It is the earth element. It deals with our personal values, our material possessions, and our security, whereas Scorpio rules destruction of this form. And it deals with shared possessions. It talks about change and transformation. And so the sun in Taurus is this bright, happy, simple, encouraging energy. It's about the tangible things in life. And the Scorpio moon is illuminating all of these deeply seated complexities inside of our psyche, these psychic esoteric mysteries and the intangibles, right? And so we can't neglect either one. We have to find a balance between the two. And so that's kind of what we're being invited to do, is to deal with the dragon's head and tail when it comes to the Taurus and Scorpio axis. And so this full moon is going to bring forward all kinds of emotional declarations, whatever that means for your own journey. I feel all of this energy has been building inside of the divine masculine. And I do feel a lot of emotional declarations coming forward, maybe in an immature manner if you're still breaking free from a karmic connection. But it's this very demanding energy that we can no longer repress this anymore. This has to be exposed. This has to be illuminated. And these are basically already issues that have already been there, that we have kind of swept under the rug, that we've been running from dealing with, because we can't avoid that elephant in the room anymore. And so this is going to be a big cosmic push towards understanding these cycles, improving our lives, releasing these attachments, and maybe even improving our financial state and our intimate connections moving forward. And so there's going to be like a burst of emotional proclamations is kind of what it feels like, whether that's a good one or a bad one. And so I feel there's a lot of irrational communication coming forward this week. You might feel a little bit loony, is what I want to say. You might be going to the loony bin. I don't know. But this surge of energy is saying it's time to take action. We can't stay idle anymore. We need to get something out of our system. And we cannot keep seeking all of this outside validation as well. So a lot of emotional energy. It's going to be very raw, scorpionic, emotional energies, 1911. And so we're breaking down the ego, right? And so get ready to be aware of where you've projected your issues onto somebody else. It's going to feel very restless this week. It's going to be a very frustrating week. So watch your projections and your deflections onto others. Do your best to avoid blaming others for any outer circumstances that you're facing. We have to face our own frustrations, right? We can't keep blaming everything that goes wrong in our life on somebody else. And so this is probably the most important lunation of the year, is what I want to say. So look to the house that the eclipse is going to fall in your natal chart. Look to the house. I actually have no Taurus and Scorpio in my housing side. So I'm like, whew, I'm so relieved. The only Scorpio I have in my chart is in Uranus at 16 degrees 58, and my Taurus sun sign at 6 degrees 15. And so look to the house, because that's going to be activated. Any Taurus or Scorpio planets, and look to the house that those might be in, because the eclipse is going to activate something to do with that house in your natal chart. And there's likely going to be some type of an event that the eclipse is going to trigger. And I know a lot of people fear these eclipse energies because it brings about some type of crisis, right? There's likely going to be some type of crisis that's going to lead to some significant life changes, or an event that's going to change your life drastically. And although change doesn't usually feel good at first, it is for a positive movement forward. And so a lot of changing circumstances. And I don't know how we can actually really prepare or precipitate these changes. We've attracted these changes, right? Because of our guides. Our guides know we need this change. And so we are here to progress in our human nature. And we can't stay in situations that are making us miserable. A lot of these divine masculines stay in a situation that makes them miserable for longer than they should, when deep down inside, they kind of know that change is necessary for this growth. And so I feel a lot of the masculines are being asked to get out of their own way right now. I think they're a little bit dazed and confused. I think they've been rattled by some type of snake energy in order to kind of examine these habitual negative perspectives and states. We get so used to being miserable. And so all of that kind of has to break apart so we can open up to something bigger and better. A lot of us have been praying and longing for this reunion to find our true purpose, to find true love, to find the bliss of this union with the counterpart. And so the masculine is being pushed to release their inner darkness, their shadow self, these shadow self aspects that are rooted in karma, that they've kind of kept below the surface, and maybe they didn't even realize they were still holding on to this negative aspect. So I think it's going to be a very strange week with a lot of shifts happening. And you might not even be able to describe what you're going through in words just yet. But I do feel closer to the end of May, it's probably going to simmer down a little bit. But let's pull in with some cards and see what else to expect for the twins for the week ahead. We'll keep going with the wisdom of the Oracle deck. TikTok. Truth be told, there's the mask falling off, right? Owls. It's 14-2, which is karmic deck, karmic freedom, and then union energy with the 3. So it's like time's up. You've lollygagged divine masculine. You kind of sat around playing these games and these karmic cycles long enough. It's time to be honest. And so I feel beautiful uncaging. This is going to be a very painful higher heart activation. Divinely guided change, because we can't keep living with these masks, these ego masks that construct a false sense of security in our lives. And so divinely guided change, heart awakening for sure. Sorry, a divine feminine was messaging me. All right. To be fair, there's that Libra energy. So we are rebalancing this situation, right? So 38 breaks down to an 11, union. And then the bottom of the deck, it's time to go. It's time to leave these old cycles behind. And there's the confusion, the fogginess. She can't really see, there's a door. She's walking through the fog. Not really sure what's on the other side. 45 breaking down to a 9. When we get to the 9, we're rounding completion. When we get to the 10, we're done. And we're starting back over at 1. And so this is what is fair and just will play out. So if you've put bad out there, get ready to face the consequences of your past actions. If you've been putting good out there, get ready to receive your dharma. This is also the energy of the High Priestess. And so my Black Moon Lilith is actually in Libra. So I feel the Aries Libra energy is strongly playing out again this week. It is the energy of Mot, of you know, crossing over in ancient, I believe, is it Egyptian or ancient Greece. You would weigh your heart on a scale before you crossed over, and if your heart was not as light as a feather, well, you're going to purgatory and you're going back. Let's do this again, but better this time. And you're going to go back and reincarnate. And so we're balancing these energies, and what is fair and just will play out. And so we also have no place like home as well. And so there's going to be a change on the home front. The twins are home to each other in the heart space. And so an opportunity to rebuild is what it's feeling like. That's a 10, breaking down to 1, the building blocks. And that came through in yesterday's message. And then we get the truth be told. And so we can't tap into this higher awareness and these higher powers if we are not coming from a place of authenticity, integrity, and being honest with ourselves and everybody we're connected with. So there's the ascension energy, the imagination energy, imagine, and a higher power. I feel a lot of third eye, unlocking the third eye. If you look on this card, she's got the keyhole. The keyhole, so peering into the future of these foundations. And there's that TikTok again. So the time is now to go towards these peaceful unions, is kind of what it feels like. So let's get some Dharma cards today. What else do the twins need to be aware of? We got the children that just come out. And so a lot of us have these crystal children that we're raising as well, and highly gifted children, and we're here to help them expand their consciousness and their minds as well, to not fall into these toxic patterns. So bottom of the deck, we get destiny. So whatever is happening right now this week, it is ultimately for your highest good. The highest court is never, ever vindictive. And so whatever justice or higher court energies are playing out, it is not being vindictive. What is right and fair will come forward for the highest good. And this is about honoring the path. And so 6 things will assure our spiritual success: acting with enthusiasm, with confidence, with patience, and we have to adopt a spiritual path. And we have to avoid worldly company, gossipy company, and follow the steps of what a saint would do, and avoid wicked company. So how can you acquire this higher virtue? The top of the deck, we get the evil energy. And so no evil deed goes unpunished, and an evil deed in itself is its own punishment. And so if we don't experience this karma this life, it will keep following us to the next life, to the next life, to the next life. We cannot escape the laws of karma when it comes to our past life evil deeds. And so mind over matter, you matter. And so when we allow the mind to control us, we remain our biggest enemy. And so the mind will fail us time and time again. We don't want to befriend the ego too much. We want to integrate the ego so it's not our biggest enemy. Our mind will always be our biggest enemy. And so we got the children, love, freedom. Oh my God, I love it. And deliverance. So deliverance. Wow. So children, we are here to raise healthy children, right? And this has come out before, and so it does say treat your child like a prince or a princess for the first 5 years, like a student for 10 more, and then upon reaching the 16th year, like a friend. And we are here to achieve domestic harmony and to harness these healthy parenting skills, love. And so although it is impossible, the infinite is defeated by the finite. So what is this unthinkable position that you're coming from? because we can only attain true bliss attained through unconditional spiritual love. And so we're on the pathway of deliverance and freedom is what it feels like this week. And so we can't keep being a slave to modern day society. We're basically modern day slaves when we play into these false paradigms, these false government structures. And so where can you release being a slave to society? Because we are here to harness our absolute highest position of freedom. And that's that Aquarian energy, freedom. And so those who cannot deliver their children from the path of repeated reincarnation, birth, and death, you should never become a parent. You should never become a father or a mother. And you likely should never become a husband or a wife, because that is not spiritual mastery. So let's jump in with some tarot. I'm using the Mystic Monday deck today because it is Monday and I'm a mystic. I haven't used this deck in a while, the deck for the modern mystic. So let's cut the deck and see what we got. Wow. Wow. 3 of Swords, 3 of Cups. So that's the energy of deeply seated heartbreak. 3 of Cups. This is also the energy of 2 cups pouring into 1. So I do feel, as painful as these endings are, 3113, that message come through the other day too. We have to go through the pain, through the depths of the heartbreak. And we have to face these poor decisions. Look at that. Below the 3 of Swords, we got the 4 of Cups. And so there's the feminine, I feel, healing from the third party. Focusing on self-love, going within, and things are moving forward for the feminine is what I'm feeling. And under the 3 of Cups in the split, we get the Princess of Cups and the High Priestess. So I feel like an apology coming from the Divine Masculine with the Emperor below that. But let's see what's going on with the twins this week. I haven't used this deck in a while. It's actually still very, very stiff. So we're gonna anchor down 5 cards. We're gonna anchor them down and see what's going on for the twins for the week ahead. We got the Tower anchored down by the Justice. Well, I think get ready for upheaval, unexpected shakeups. This is Pluto. This is Mars. This is the eclipse energy coming in and breaking apart anything that's not been just or right. So there is a major karmic rebalancing going on here, is what it feels like. The Tower and Justice. Wow. Right out the gate. Let's get a message from the higher self. Judgment. Wow. Anchored down by the Moon. Oh my gosh. So all major arcana so far. So I think buckle up, buttercups. We're in for a ride this week. We're going to have to face these past betrayals. That's the dead central energy anchored down by the King of Cups. That would be the Divine Masculine coming through. We get the World, holy moly, anchored down by the 3 of Pentacles, which is the Holy Trinity union, these higher divine unions. Overall, they become the 6 of Swords, anchored down by the Knight of Wands. Moving on from this erratic, disrespectful behavior. Bottom of the deck, the Princess of Wands. So there is a new opportunity here. I do feel a message is coming. There's going to be a major breakdown, and this is the awakening, right? The judgment, karma. A lot of karma is playing out. We have to face our past decisions. Judgment is coming in. That full moon eclipse is coming in, and everybody's getting a wake-up call. We can never escape the law of judgment and karma, and so we have to face these past betrayals, where you've hurt another, where another has hurt you. A lot of these masculines left the feminine at rock bottom. There was a lot of betrayal, stabbing in the back, a lot of gossip, a lot of slander, and there was this lack of emotional acknowledgement. And so below the surface, we are mastering these lessons. This is like a very painful life lesson, though. The world is accomplishment, spiritual achievement, accomplishment. We're leaving all of this past baggage behind, and we're stepping into these unions. And so that higher etheric union. And so I do feel leaving these old situations behind. of manipulation and greed and sexual scandals, right? The Knight of Wands can be quite the Rico Suave, but I also feel a quick departure is what it feels like. So let's dig into this Tower and Justice energy, and we'll go deeper into the Tower and the Justice. This is pretty heavy. Ace of Wands, Seven of Cups, and the Princess of Swords. So I just feel, yeah, with the Two of Cups. So 7 and 2 equals 9. I do feel a revelation. A lot of disillusionment is happening. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of disillusionment. This is like the alchemical marriage, I feel. A new beginning, a new spark, a new drive. And I also feel like a revelation of needing to move fast, move fast. So this might be a message coming in very quickly. It could be several messages. It's the energy of it's time to act. It's time to speak up. It's time to act when it comes to building these legacies for the future is kind of what it feels like. Let's clarify the Judgment and the Moon. Oh, we get 9 of Swords, 7 of Wands, and bottom of the deck, the 3 of Swords. So yeah, we have to go into the depths of the heartbreak, right? And so a lot of these masculines stay stuck up in their head. They allow the ego to control them, and I feel these thoughts are very distorted, very penetrating. And it is the energy of getting out of the head, dropping into the heart, feeling the pain, so we can move on, right, with the 6 of Swords. So I do feel there's going to be a lot of aggressive, combative exposure. The 7 of Wands is you're going to want to protect yourself. You're going to want to be careful of who you allow into your energy. There's going to be a lot of revelations when it comes to these burdens that need to be released. So we can take action moving forward with the 7 and the 10. Look, we get the 3. Yeah, we get the 3. So we can take action towards wish fulfillment. And it always does begin with self. And so this is kind of like the split, right? The journey always begins with self-love. And so we got the 4 of Cups on the top, the 4 of Cups on the top and on the bottom, as above, so below. And it is only through self-acknowledgement and self-love and self-actualization that we can bridge the gap of the boredom, the discontent, the depression, and the soul suppression. And so both the counterparts go through the 4 of Cups energy, so we can master self-love. And so together we both need to choose to walk away from everything that does not honor self-love to go towards wish fulfillment. So what is the exposure of the 10 of Swords? I flipped the deck the wrong way. We get the Ace of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. So there is an offer coming. There is an apology coming. Oh, look at that. We got the masculine maturing from a knight to a king. This is the visionary leader. There is going to be victory. I do feel the masculine is coming in with an apology, an offer. He does want to have success with you after all of this pain, this sorrow. So the 10 of Swords is exposing the truth. When we get to the 10, it's done, and we go to the Ace. So truthful, new beginning, honest, heartfelt communication is coming. We go from the Knight to the King as well, towards the feminine, the 9 of Pentacles, the High Priestess. It's like, you're hard to miss, Divine Feminine. You're like this peacock. You're hard to miss. And so you need to stay centered. You've been receiving the visions, Pisces energy, Taurus energy. And so it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride this week as we are being presented with the Divine Why, the crossroads, in order to gain these new perceptions, the Hanged Woman, more Pisces energy, and then the Hierophant below that, so we can heal these unions. And so a lot of activations, a lot of third eye activations in order to heal. Wow. And then the King of Swords. So I do feel the masculine is really going through it this week. Definitely going through it. So let's take a look at the World and the 3 of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles. All of the kings have showed up. The Devil. and the Two of Swords. So the devil has had their hooks in the masculine for quite some time, creating all of these challenges, these delays, these obstacles with the Five of Wands. And so the devil's had a hook on the masculine. I do feel releasing cycles of greed, corruption, materialism, and going towards success when it comes to planting these new seeds. So we've got a huge opportunity this week for a brand new beginning that will lead to a lot of abundance, a lot of success. So what is it that you want to invest in? Because this Seven of Pentacles is saying you have an opportunity to take this, to plant this seed, to leave the stagnancy behind, to go towards victory and success, and to go towards healing and wish fulfillment. Yeah, with the Ace of Cups. And so something coming back from the dead, Aquarian energy, when it comes to a reunion, the Six of Cups. And so there's that Four of Cups again. A lot of us have been in separation for about the last 4 years, preparing to come into union, into that balance, right? But we do have to heal that abandonment wound first. So could be dealing with a Capricorn, but we're closing out those cycles. Oh, look at that. Affirmation. Self-compassion is simply giving the same kindness to ourselves that we would give to another. So reach out to a loved one. We have to own our story. We have to love ourselves through that process. And that truly is the bravest thing we can ever do on the journey. So what negative narrative have you been telling yourself that you need to kind of let go? We're going to get a couple of these reflection affirmation messages, and we're going to call it a day. And I am going to start recording the next round of zodiac messages. So I lied, is what this one says. So I do feel the masculine is in a state of loneliness. He's been brooding in this poverty of self, in a state of solitude, and richness is the richness of self. And so the masculine, I feel, is learning to be a friend to himself, to his heart, and maybe a friend to another. I don't feel a lot of these masculines have been very good friends. They use the excuse that they were busy, but not in the way most people understand, right? And so I think the masculine was busy telling himself he was okay when he wasn't. He was busy silencing these irrational thoughts that he was having a hard time handling. I think he was busy trying to calm his racing heart, practicing self-care. And so solitude is also the place where we rest all of our chaos. And that is where we awaken to harnessing our inner peace, is through solitude, right? And so I feel the masculine is learning to hold himself in this quiet withdrawal. He might need your hand, Divine Feminine. He might need your compassion. I feel the masculines are not feeling worthy of all of the good things that life has to offer. They're definitely not feeling worthy of you, Divine Feminine. And so self-love, we all have the capability of self-love, but we got to go into the ocean of our heart, the vessel within our heart. And we have to release all of this excess karmic baggage that's spilled over into our lives, that has hurt the people that we hold dear, and we have to learn to put ourselves first. And so it's hard, right, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you be somebody that you're not, or to be something else. And so we have to heed that inner calling. We have to heed that inner calling. What makes you different from others? What makes you unique with your expression? What do you desire most in your life? Because we cannot be comfortable without our own approval. We cannot keep seeking all of this outside validation and approval, and everything will work again. So I think a week of unplugging, you might want to just shut your phone off, shut the computer down, and reflect at a deep energetic level. How do you feel about the twin flame journey? What do you need to prioritize to move forward? Because the past isn't here to define who we are today. But it is here to teach us the new path that is being presented. So let's get a couple last past life lesson messages because of the South Node eclipse energy. What past life lessons are coming up to be acknowledged, cleared, and learned this week for the counterparts? Okay, we're here to create that sense of belonging for ourselves. Karma. The major karmic lesson this week is unrequited love. and closing out these karmic cycles of unrequited love. So get ready to say goodbye to somebody. It's time to say goodbye. We get the Father energy, the Star Seed, humility, and we get Gypsy with Artist. And so this, I feel, is a message for the feminine. A lot of us feel like a bit of a vagabond while we go through this this process, this healing, while we spend all of this time alone. A lot of us have this very unsettling feeling like we just don't belong, but we do. We belong with everybody that we travel with. A lot of the feminines have people come and go. And so a big lesson for the feminine is to harness your inner artist as part of your profession, because a lot of the feminines possess some very amazing creative qualities. We have the masculine going through a lesson of humility, a lesson of the father, right? The masculines are to be the providers and the protectors of the family. And so they're going through a huge lesson in humility to accept this role in order to release their arrogancy, and to accept that they have created this, right? And so a star seed activation, galactic activation of our galactic origins is part of our human experience, tapping into that higher purpose for our humanitarian mission. And so the karma playing out this week is in conjunction with these unrequited love situations. A lot of the twins were unable to be with the counterpart while we clear this karma. I know it feels that sometimes we're just going to die with this broken heart, but we're not. And so this has been a burden we've carried for too many lifetimes, the burden of separation and staying in these toxic vows, these toxic cycles. And so this is the lifetime that these unrequited love situations have to be acknowledged and have to be released and healed this lifetime. So death, get ready for some death energy. And it might even feel like people are being ripped out of your life, like you're not going to have a chance to say goodbye. But this is to activate you living in purpose. And that's kind of what I got for the week ahead, guys. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or a twin flame reading with me, have a check below in the description box. I think you just hit the more button. I would love to get that booked in with you. I'm still keeping my sale on. I'm going to keep it on until the end of May, and then prices will go back up to regular pricing. So if you'd like to get booked in over the next month, I highly suggest it. It's a great deal. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.